and welcome or welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be about different topics relating to makeup, kind of like a makeup 101 type video. I've been getting a lot of questions, in-person questions about my makeup routine and just certain things about makeup. And so I wanted to give just a little bit of information, and then if it is determined from this video that more informative information is needed, then there'll be follow-ups to this particular video. I have only been playing around in makeup as far as complexion products since about 2020, so I'm about 2.5-3 years in. So there's still things that I am learning as well, but I don't have a problem with teaching the information or teaching what I have learned thus far. I am not a makeup artist by trade. I do aspire to be one day. I am trying to get as many tricks of the trade that I can, because I do do my own makeup, or apply my own makeup. So when I first got into makeup, I spent a lot of money, or a lot of money was wasted, I guess I'll say, on things that weren't really my shade, or things that were not just for my skin type. And I did not know initially that there was a skin type or an undertone, or just different products that may or may not work with my skin. So what I am really realizing now is that makeup is just like any other product. It works for some people and it does not work for other people. But you won't know right away until you try those products. The most important thing that I have learned is that just because something is an expensive product, it does not mean that it's a good product. And it definitely does not mean that it will work for you. So we are going to start off in the area of concealer, because that is one of my favorite parts of a makeup application. This is an impromptu video, so I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of tongue twisters along the way. But if you are interested in this topic and other things regarding makeup, please stay tuned and keep on watching. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so at this time. And if you are interested and like the content that is in this video, please remember to like this video. So again, we're going to start off with concealer. As with most makeup, you can have high-end products or pharmacy or drugstore brands. And high-end makeup is normally makeup that you can't go in your particular Walmart or CVS or Target to purchase. You have to either order from that particular vendor online, or you have to go to a particular store like Sephora or Ulta to purchase those items. But a great find for me in makeup in the area of concealers are the LA Girl Pro concealers, and they look like this. And they will normally tell you the shade names on the back of it, and hopefully this shows on camera. I am still working with my lighting, but I do have a new microphone that I'm using today, so hopefully the sound at least is better. So with concealers, you can use concealer in the place of foundation, just to kind of like conceal some of your hyperpigmentations or any skin imperfections that you may have. You can go a step further and also use concealers to brighten your under eye area. You can also use concealers as an eyeshadow primer before you apply any color or any product with pigmentation to it. If you are selecting a concealer for the sole purposes of concealing your imperfections, then you want to go with a concealer shade that is a little bit closer to your skin tone. So for me, I am a foundation lover, so I really don't use concealer in the form of concealing. I use it mainly to brighten my under eyes. But you want to, of course, go to a shade that is closer to your skin tone. And if you want to use one for the purposes of brightening, then you do want to get one that's a shade or two lighter than what you deem to be your skin color. Some stores you're able to swatch, like Ulta does sell LA Girl products. So if they have the actual samples out, excuse me, you're able to swatch with those particular samplers, but you may not always have that luxury in a store. So you're going to have to do the best that you can with the product and in as much lighting as you can. So of course, when you're in a store, especially a beauty store or a makeup store, their lights in there are a little bit different than normal sunlight. So something may look as if it's going to be your complexion shade in the store, and then when you get outside or when you get home in different lighting, you kind of determine not so much. Hopefully in those particular cases, if you encounter that, you're able to take those products back. I do know that Ulta and Sephora, you're allowed to do that. I really haven't had to take any beauty products back to Walmart, CVS, or any place like that, so I'm not sure of their return policy. Once you decide on, do I want to buy 2 concealers, or what is the purpose that I'm using those concealers for, then you can kind of see if you're going to need one or more of that particular product. So this concealer shade here is Chestnut, and it would be close to my skin shade or skin tone as the ones that I actually have right here on my vanity. I do have several shades of this. Now when I swatch it, it comes off a little bit dark. And when I put it up to my face though, because as you can see, my face and my hands are not the same. Neither is my face and my chest. So this shade of Chestnut blends in a little bit more with my face and with my chest. So if this were my only option, this would be my best option as far as using this for concealing purposes, to cover up any imperfections or any scarring, any hyperpigmentation that I may have on my face. If I'm going in solely for a concealer that is going to brighten my under eye, then of course I'm going to select one that I know is going to do that. So right off the bat, I know that Fawn in this particular brand is a shade that will brighten my under eye. Now of course there are other shades that would brighten as well, and some may be lighter, some may be darker, but I just know because I've played around with Fawn, and I know that Fawn is a brighter shade. In addition to LA Girl, I'm trying to think of ELF. ELF has some concealers as well. They have some that are hydrating and some that are not. Trying to see. So if I'm using ELF, I know that the tones that are closer to me would be deep cinnamon and what's the other one? I think it's a deep chestnut and deep cinnamon. So this is actually a deep cinnamon shade. And so when I put it up, this is the deep cinnamon shade. It's lighter than the chestnut, darker than the fawn, but it could still be a highlighter shade to me. Or it can be used for concealing. But just based on my personal preference, I wouldn't use this as an under eye color because that's not light enough for me. I think, is it medium? I haven't used my ELF concealers in a minute, but this one is a lighter shade, and it is one of the shades that I would use for my under eye. Sometimes depending on the tone of your foundation, your concealer shade, if you go too light, it could be a little bit too light for that foundation. But all of that will come along with learning your makeup, when you're going to use it, how you're going to use it, and what works best for you. The important part that you want to always remember with makeup is that it's based on what you like. It's not based on a color that someone else told you is best for you, unless you're actually going in to be serviced by a makeup artist. If you're learning makeup for the purposes of applying your own makeup, then you want to do and play around with those things that you like. Sometimes your choices or your personal choices may not be the best, but you won't know if you don't play around with it to see. So right now I have 4 different shades on my hand. I have 2 that are from LA Girl and 2 that are from ELF. I think ELF concealers are $7 or less. And then the LA Girl, I think it's $3.99 or less. And for me, they both do the same thing as far as brightening up my under eye. Now, I do have some dark circles underneath my eyes. You can't really tell it because of the makeup that I've applied. But I do use concealer for that sometimes. But most of the time, I use a color corrector. So again, that's something that would be based on you playing around and just what your personal preference may be. So right now I am using a True Complexion HD corrector from Black Radiance, and it's just an orange corrector. They come in peach, they come in green, I think sometimes it comes in white. It just kind of depends on what the problems that you're having with your skin, where that particular area may be, because you want to use a product that's going to blend in and mix in well with the other products that you are applying. So my under eyes really crease, and I noticed that with some setting powders they crease really bad. With some concealers they crease really bad. I like the Nicka K concealers for cleaning up under my brows. I do not particularly like them with lightening up my or brightening up my under eye, because to me they do not play well with other products. So they will, and you'll find that in some makeup products as well, they won't work well with other products from different brands. So you just have to try them out and see. If you are a person who has dry skin already without you applying anything on there, then you definitely don't want to use concealers or products underneath your eyes that will dry them out more. So again, there are some hydrating concealers, and e.l.f. I know offers the hydrating option. Sephora does as well. Sephora brand products does as well. But if we're staying in the drugstore price range, then the e.l.f. would be probably the best option. Okay, so let's see. Another brand of concealers would be the NYX concealers. I have the Born to Glow ones, and then I have the I think it's a blurring concealer, but these are the NYX Born to Glow concealers. They are radiant concealers, so this would be one that's in the line with the hydration that you may seek. And I have the shades Mahogany and Warm Honey. So the Mahogany one, I can tell right from the name that that's probably going to be the one that is closer to my skin tone. That's Mahogany. It is a little bit brighter than me, but it's as close to my skin tone between the two of them. And then this one is the Warm Honey. And that's how it looks. So Warm Honey and Mahogany. Also, when you're thinking about a concealer, you want to get a concealer that's going to be long lasting. So if you're like me, you plan your day out, you plan your looks out. If you are going somewhere where you know you're going to be gone for about 2 hours or more, you want to make sure that the products that you're using are going to withstand that time as well. Okay, so you want to make sure that your makeup is going to last for the duration of the time that you will be gone. There are some additional products in addition to concealer that will aid in that effort of making your makeup last a little bit longer. But the concealer is one of the most important parts, because that's a part of your complexion products. Let's see. I think I have a lot of the LA Girl concealers. I really need to do a declutter. I dread doing that, but I need to do one. Let's see. Outside of, sorry. I'm trying to see what other drugstore brands I have. And I'm filming this way because my filming table is actually being used for a crafting project, and the items are drying, so I couldn't move them. So I apologize for my background. It does show a little bit of, the remainder of my beauty space, but then I work from home as well, so you can see my work equipment, so I apologize for that. Kiss also has a good concealer, and it is full coverage. That's another thing. If you want medium coverage and you just want to brighten up a little bit, you're not really trying to conceal anything, you just want to have a little bit of lighter shade here, you may not necessarily need a full coverage concealer. And you want to also, if you want to also have the option of building whatever the product is that you are applying. So today you may not need full coverage, you may want medium, but tomorrow you want full coverage, and you shouldn't have to buy several different products to achieve that. You should be able to build the product that you build up, the product that you have. And that just means layering the product until you get the level of coverage that you want. I do have 3 shades of the Kiss concealers, and these are marketed as a full coverage concealer. So to me, that means that I can use this to conceal, I can use this to brighten, I can use this if I don't want to wear foundation today and I want to do a makeup, no makeup, and just kind of get coverage in the areas that I need it. I can use this for that as well. So this to me is a 3-in-1 product. And I think these retail between $7.99 and $9.99. So I have 3 shades. Let's see. And they look really close in color at first glance or on camera. So let's try, they're numbered as well, so I'm going to put them on in numerical order. This first one is 333 Cool Toffee. I like that. The next one is 335 Cappuccino. Okay, was this one open? Because it's real hard. Let me get my scissors. It's real hard to open. It's giving me a lot of resistance. Okay, I don't think this one was open, but that's okay. And then the last one is 345 Warm Coconut. And this is how they look. So 345, yeah, 345, I'm sorry, 335, and 333. Hopefully you all can see those. As you can see, they are all different shades, but they're all shades that I would wear to conceal and or brighten. And I made the mistake of purchasing a lot of makeup in the beginning of this makeup journey for me, because I would get something, I would get home and it wouldn't be the right shade. More so I did this with foundations, and I would keep it. Oh, I'll keep it because when I have a client, I can use it on their skin, or just whatever my rationality was. I no longer do that. If I'm not matching that to a particular person in my head, so say I'm buying something and I see something that I feel like my mom can wear or my aunt, I'll get it with the intentions of either using it on them or giving it to them. It has to be specific though. I no longer just buy things, oh, I'll use it on somebody. No, it has to have a specific purpose, because I really don't have room for anything else to go. But if you like these concealers, as you can see, those were a little bit thicker in texture. Let's see if we can do a comparison. So this is the LA Girl Pro Concealer, the first one that we talked about. That's about a layer of that. Then we're going to do a layer of e.l.f. And then we'll do a layer of the NYX that we used. And then compare that to the Kiss concealer. So all of these are just one layer. Okay. So this is the Kiss, this is NYX, this is Elf, and this is the LA Girl. So as you can see, if we're going on what looks like it may have the most coverage are the Elf and the Kiss. Okay, so that is concealers. Oh, no, I have something else to say. I forgot. There's a caveat. Okay, so just like foundations are based on your undertones, concealers pretty much are too. But once for me now, it's easier for me to choose my concealer based on the foundation that I have, because I have different shades. Different brands have different shades. And you may be a warm shade in one foundation by a certain brand. You may be a neutral shade or a neutral undertone in the next brand. Like it can be a lot, but it's the process of learning is fun and exciting, I'm telling you. So as far as your undertones, I think that I am a warm undertone. So it says people who fall in this category are, why I thought I was going to be able to read that from far away. People who fall in this category are dominantly yellow or goldish skin tone. If you look at your wrist, your veins are mostly green. So if you look at, I have makeup on my wrist. So if you look at your wrist, your veins, I don't know if this shows on camera, but I have a vein going down my wrist here. It is a solid green. So based on my opinion and what my veins say, I am a warm undertone. So let's see what it says for cool undertones. People who fall in this category appears pink or beige skin tone. If you look under your wrist, your veins are mostly blue. There's also people who fall into an olive undertone. People who fall into this category has a slightly green undertone. If you look under your wrist, your veins are a mixture of blue and green. There are certain ethnicities who fall up under an olive undertone. Now there can be women of color or people of color that fall into this category as well. Probably about a year or two ago, I was watching a show that didn't have anything to do with makeup. It may have been like a Lifetime special or something. I don't remember specifically what it was, but as I was watching, I said she has an olive undertone. Prior to that, I hadn't really witnessed that in anybody. So when I would read about how you knew what your undertones are, I'm like, how can somebody be an olive undertone? But that was the first time that I could notice it and realize somebody's undertone. I find myself doing this a lot when I see people, random people, and I'm trying to figure out their undertone. It's weird a little bit, but I was kind of happy to realize that in somebody. So once you realize it in yourself, then it's easier for you to pick out your makeup. I basically only use my undertone for foundation, sometimes bronzers and contours, because I like different shades of contours. I like different shades of blush. And blush is something that really doesn't matter of your undertone. It shows better on some skin tones, but you don't have to say, oh, I'm a warm, so I should wear this red, or I'm a cool, so I should wear this orange. Like, it's whatever you want to wear. It just depends on, do you like how it looks on you? With foundations is a very tricky area for me, because again, different brands have different shade ranges. Some brands have a limited shade range, and you're looking at them like, okay, none of these match me, and you get the one that's closest because you want to try that particular brand out. I know for a fact the shade that I wear in my Sephora Best Skin Ever is not my shade, or not the closest shade to me. But because I like how it looks when it dries down on me, I'm going to continue to buy that shade. The shade that I'm referring to is the shade 57Y, which is supposed to be for warm toned or warm undertone complexions. This is the shade. As you can see, I'm about out of it, but I have a backup. This is the shade. When you look at my hands, of course, it does not match. When you look at my skin tone, yeah, a little, but it can also give a little reddish to me. And when I put it on initially, it looks a little bit red or a little bit too warm. But when it dries down, the finish is everything to me. It is what I am wearing today. It's what I have on most days. And this is the color that I'm going to continue to wear. Some people may look at it like, when I'm applying it on videos, like, oh, that's not going to go well. But then once I put everything on, it's like, oh, it worked. So again, this all comes with trial and error as well. For the Born This Way Too Faced, I actually have two shades. I have Chai and I have Butter Pecan. Butter Pecan is the lighter one. Chai is the one that gives off a little bit more warm to me. So again, these are two different brands. So they give off two different shades. Another brand that I wear is Milani Screen Queen Foundation. It's a natural finish foundation. And the shade is 480 Toffee. And it's lighter than the other two that I just showed. I also wear NARS. And I have two shades of this too. But the one that I pull from the most is the shade Marquises. And that's the shade. And I'm going to swatch these as well. The only thing I don't like about this NARS, it doesn't have any type of applicator for you to apply the makeup with. I don't like products like that. So let's see if I can get enough out to actually show the shade. So that's NARS Marquises. This is Too Faced Chai, not Shy. And you see those are very different. This is the 480 from Milani. And then the last one is going to be the Sephora. I'll put it across the top because I don't have any more room. Okay. So all of these are different in color. Just like the video that I have up where I was trying out the LiQWYD products. And I had 3 foundations that were all the same undertone, but they were different shades. And I could pull off all 3. Once you realize your undertone and what works best for you or what can work, then it's all personal preference. So, what did I do? Oh, NARS. So this one is Sephora. And then this one is NARS. That one is Milani, I think. And that one is Too Faced Born This Way. But they're all different colors. All different shades of warm. And they're all shades that I wear. And that's because I can kind of finesse my makeup now based on the additional products that I use. So if I know that I have on a darker foundation that I would usually wear, I'm not going to go in with a bright concealer because that's going to be too bright for the foundation that I'm using. So say for instance, when I wear this, which again is a lot, I have 2 concealers from there. So I have 44Y, which is a warm concealer. And then I have 35N, which is a neutral. Right? So as you can see, this yellow one is darker, is a darker shade. So because I know that this is a darker shade of foundation that I normally wear, I'm going to pair it with this warm tone concealer. Now, after I put this warm tone concealer and I blend it in, I may decide to then just go in my inner corners with the brightest one, which is the natural one. So you may have to do that as well when you go into stores. If you're shopping for a full face of makeup, you want to pair the products up together to see what looks best. And again, if you're able to swatch, I definitely recommend swatching, because some products do oxidize and dry down, and they may not be the same shade when they dry down. And it may not give off what you want it to give when it dries down. So we got concealer, we got foundation. I'm trying to think of things the way I apply my makeup. To bronze and or contour with, I use different things. So, and the shade range is all over the place for me. The main thing that I pull from is this Sephora Make No Mistake foundation stick, but because of how dark it is, I use it to bronze and contour. This shade is Mahogany, and that's the shade of it. Ooh, I gotta sneeze. But this is the shade of it. Now, it looks really dark right here, but when you blend products out, sometimes you blending them is going to tone down some of that color. So yes, it's still dark, but it's not as dark as it was before I blended it. And then it also sometimes may depend on the product that you're using to blend or diffuse it. So this is just a little brush from Real Techniques. It looks like a toothbrush. It's actually a contour brush. It's labeled as a contour brush. So this is what I use most times. Now, if I am using a cream product like this Soul Deep bronzer from ColourPop, it's a little bit lighter, in my opinion, than the one that I have on. So let's see. This is the cream, and that's the stick that I just put on. So actually it shows darker on my hand, but of course my hand is lighter than my face. But this is a cream product, so of course I need to be mindful of what I'm blending it with. So I may blend with this contour brush, or I may blend with this brush that's made a little bit different. This is a Sephora, no, this is a Morphe E63. I have every time I do a video I think about it, excuse me, but I have a Sephora brush like this. But this is a Morphe E43 brush. And I use this mainly for cream products, whether it's blush, whether it's bronzer, whether it's a cream highlighter. This is mostly the brush that I'm going to use. But when you blend things out and they dry down, they look a little bit different. So I'm going to leave that there for a minute. And then, of course, once we use any type of cream product, we know that we have to set it down with something, with some type of powder. So we'll get into that, but I'm trying to do the makeup in the order that I put it on. So for setting powders, if I am wearing a concealer that's not as bright as I want it to be, then I will use this Sacha Buttercup powder. It's a yellow or golden tinted powder. And it is a powder that doesn't really have really little to no flashback. But this is what I use to set underneath my eyes, and I use a very small amount of this powder, because this powder is one of those that if you use too much, it will definitely crease underneath your eyes. Sometimes I may choose to go in with a translucent powder, and this one is the NARS Translucent Crystal Powder. It is white in color. So with most translucent powders, they are finely milled powders. You can't really see any type of color when you put them on your face. You're just using them basically to set the makeup that you already have on. So it's not it's not being used to add any pigmentation to the product that's already there. It's just setting that product in place. I also sometimes use a micro smooth powder from Sephora, and I have the shade 65 Toffee. To be honest, I use this product to set my entire face. I used it today in addition to another powder. I got to think about it because I went to church today. Did my makeup pretty early, so I don't have the product still out that I use, but I do know that I use this to set my entire face today. Once I've put on, I normally leave the powder that I'm setting with. I leave that there while I do the rest of my makeup application. So from there, I will go in to set the cream contour that I applied with either that foundation stick or that cream balm that I used. Either one of those, I would then go in with a powder. So my powders that I use, I have the Fenty Mocha Mummy Sunstalker bronzer. And this is labeled as a warm bronzer. And this is the actual shade of it. So if you look at these and you look at this, these are all three different shades. These two are like shades of brown. This one looks more like a burgundy shade. They have another one though that's a little bit redder than this one, I think, but this is the one that I like. I did not use this to set my face. Yes, I did. I'm sorry. I did use this to set my makeup today. So I have it right under my jaws and my hairline. And at the bottom right here, that's what I set. Those are all, and down the bridge of my nose. Those are all of the places that I try to contour or that I would like to bronze up or warm up. That's what you're doing when you're bronzing. You're warming the skin or adding a little bit more color to your skin. So that's one of the colors that I use to bronze. I also use this the shade is 05 Rich. This is a bronzer from Huda Beauty. And so that's the tone of it. If I'm using a putty bronzer, I use either that cream bronzer from ColourPop, or I use this bronzer from e.l.f. and it's in the shade Sun Kisses. And that's how it looks. As you can see, I don't use it too much. You can see where I've tapped in a little bit. But with this product too, it's another one that you don't have to use a lot. And I like products like that because they last longer. I've been trying out this bronze and blush duo from Jaclyn Cosmetics. What is the name of this one? No, I think the blush is Be Rouge, and I think the bronzer is Espresso Shot. I may have the names mixed up, but I don't particularly like this bronzer shade for me. It's more of a blush on my skin tone to me. Let's see if I can swatch it to show. And remember that another beauty tip is that you can use products for whatever you would like to use them for. You don't have to use them for what they are branded as. You can use them for whatever you want to use them for. But you wouldn't know what you want to use them for unless you play with them. So I'm going to try to dry my hand a little bit so that I can show you. So that's the bronzer shade in there. But when I blend it out, let's see if I can find something to blend it with. When I blend it out on my cheeks, it looks more like a blush to me. Like a darker mauve toned blush. I don't particularly like the way it looks on me as a bronzer. But that's just my personal preference. This is a finishing powder from the Lip Bar, but based on the person's skin tone, this could also be used as a bronzer as well. So this would be like a cool toned bronzer versus the Fenty bronzer that I use would be more of a warm toned bronzer. So they could both be bronzers, but it just depends on the type of bronzer or the type of coverage that you're looking for. So I have a bronzer from CoverGirl that's just a little bit darker than this one. And it's definitely outside of my box because I normally pull for products that are close to this tone. But I purchased it and I tried it and I actually fell in love with it. So it just depends on your personal preference. Sometimes your skin, things that are neutral toned can go well with a warm toned person as well. You just have to try it and see. I think... Oh, we didn't talk about primers. And then again with blushes, you'll see my blushes. I wear whatever color blush. This one is like a pink one from LiQWYD. This one is pink, but it's a cream bronzer. It's really more peachy, but this comes from Rare Beauty. I have some that are orange. I have yellow blushes. I have a purple blush. I have a lot of different colors of blush, so that's not something that's specific based on your skin tone. You wear whatever kind of blush you want to wear. Let's see, for primers. Dependent on, no, not dependent on. I sweat regardless to what the temperature is outside, what the seasons are. I sweat here and here. When I noticed that, first off, or what made me notice that, I would go places that were a little bit more humid, and when I would come home, my makeup would either be shifted, would be missing in some places, it would look heavy in certain areas, cakey in some areas. Like, it was a lot going on. Like, as you can see right now, my cheeks, my chin, and down the middle are more glowy than any other portions of my face. And that's because those are the areas that I sweat in. Now, it doesn't look as half as bad as it would look, or it's not as shiny as it would look if I didn't have on the particular products that I use. There's a strategy to this. So they do have items that you can buy. Some people blot in between their makeup applications. If they're wearing their makeup to work and they're going to be at work for an 8-hour shift, about the 2 to 4 hour mark, they'll go in the bathroom and blot their face. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't, because I work from home. But there are products that can aid in those particular things as well. I know that Neutrogena has a powder that is marketed to reduce the amount of sweat that you give in certain areas. I bought it. I tested it out once or twice. Maybe I can test it out a little bit more this year or this summer. But I can't remember if I liked it, and I can't remember. I don't think I disliked it, because I would have thrown it away or tried to give it to someone, and I still have it. But I can't remember exactly what the results are, because I know a lot of times with products, our expectations are extremely high for our products and they don't stand up to what we wanted it to be. But we have to also remember the product most likely won't do what it's not marketed to do, or what their claims state they don't do. We can't really expect something that it doesn't say it does. But if you find hacks, that's great. But I can't remember specifically, so I'll have to do a follow-up on that particular powder. As far as primers, I prefer the tacky feeling primers, like the Milk Hydro Grip and the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. And if you do not know, this e.l.f. product is definitely a dupe for this product. This product is about $34 to $38, and I think this product is $10. I actually am running out of this one. I purchased the new one that they have. It's pink in color. It has niacinamide in it. I think they do the same thing. The other one just has the niacinamide in it, and I think they cost the same thing as well. The niacinamide, of course, is just something that's better for your skin and promotes healthier skin. e.l.f. also has e.l.f. has a lot of primer. A lot of primers. This is their Jelly Pop primer. This is like a water-based primer. I have the moisturizer and I have the gel. The moisturizer and I have the primer. I've used the primer a little bit more than I've used the moisturizer. So I pulled them from one area over to my vanity in hopes of using it more often. e.l.f. also has putty primers. They have a Cookies and Dream one. I have that one. I have the other two. I have two of these, and I have the Cookies and Dream, but I haven't opened those yet. And I'm almost to the bottom of this putty primer one. And this comes off a little bit like, what do you call it? Like a night cream, but you just blend it out. So it's a little thicker than the jelly primer or the water-based primer. So definitely a little bit thicker than that. So you just have to, in my opinion, this really doesn't work well with people that sweat profusely. It makes your makeup look a little funny, in my opinion. So I would test this out first at home. You know, go outside in the elements a little bit. Maybe like do a wear test with it for about 6 to 8 hours, and then see if you're gonna continue to use it. I have the Instant Retouch Primer from Fenty Beauty. I really can't give an opinion on this because I don't use this unless I'm using Fenty foundation, and I don't really use that a lot. They seem to play well together. I don't have any problem with it being used together. I can't really attest to using it on its own because I don't really do that. Now these are both drugstore. So I have the NYX Marshmallow Primer and the NYX Angel Veil. I don't think either of these claim to be matte or illuminating. They just are there to prime. But I like this one more. I've used this with different brands of foundation, and I can't remember a complaint that I had against this. It does have that marshmallow texture though. So if you're somebody who, I think I just like the gel-like or the tacky-like primers, and so that's why I'm using those up more. But I do like this marshmallow primer. And the Angel Veil. I just prefer one over the other. This is not closed all the way. When it comes to moisturizers, and this Glow Recipe moisturizer, it's a hydrating lotion is what it's marketed as, but it has that thin texture like the water-based products. And I just bought this just because I wanted to see what was all the hype about. I had some more products from here too still in the box. I actually gave them away. This is sold at Sephora, but you can also find little gift sets at like TJ Maxx and Marshalls. But it comes out just like the little water-based products. And when it dries down, it gives a little bit of hydration but not a glow, and I'll let that dry down. This is the Neutrogena Hydro Boost, again another water gel, so it has the same characteristics, I guess. Dries down and gives you a little bit of hydration, and this is just the trial size. And then I have a moisturizer from Bobbi Brown. I purchased this from Sephora as well, I think. And it just goes on like a regular lotion. I like the smell of this, and it could be all in my head, but I feel like this makes my skin wake up. Like it feels more, it kind of feels like, you know how you use the exfoliants that have the beads in it, how your face feels after that. For me, that's how I feel after I use the Bobbi Brown. It's a little bit, This is a trial size, I think, too, and it was like 20 something dollars, so it's a little bit expensive. So I'm using this sparingly. But my go-to is the Pond's Moisturizer Perfect Color Complex. This is for normal to dry skin, which is me. I purchased this from Dollar Tree. And I try to stop in and get one every so often, and I'll give them away most times because I'm still not done with this one yet, because I'm using other moisturizers as well. I just like options. I've gotten to the point where I don't want to be tied down to one specific thing. That may be a good thing and a bad thing, but either way, I don't like it. I don't want one eyeshadow palette, one type of lipstick, one type of eyeliner. Like, I want options. Now, do I need all of the options that I have? No, but I at least want one option. So because your skin changes, the weather changes, your skin texture changes. You may have, I did have normal skin, now I have oily skin, now my skin is dry. So it just, I think that has a lot to do with what we eat and the things we intake as far as drinking sodas and not water, but that's another subject. But when you see that your skin is doing that, you have to cater to whatever your skin is doing at that particular time. So in that case, or for those reasons, that's why options should be, you should be open to that, because you don't know what you're going to use on any given day. And the same thing goes for foundations. If you buy a matte foundation, this is my foundation, this is what I'm going to use all through the year, I'm going to use this all up. Because your skin changes as far as the tones, that tone may not work for all of the seasons. Number one, you probably can learn to make it work over time, but it may not work all the time because you had oily skin and you decided, I want to use all matte products. Those matte products, if it's too many used in conjunction of doing a makeup look, that may dry your skin out. So then you think, oh, I got to rethink something. I may not need a matte concealer plus a matte primer plus a matte foundation plus a matte setting spray. Like, you're going to have to mix and match what it is that you want to actually use in order to get the products to all work together to achieve what you want to achieve. I do have some matte concealers. I have one from, I think I have one from Sephora. I have one from Revolution. I haven't opened them yet because I really don't use matte products like that. I think I have one from Milani, but I'm not sure. I have a lot of primers. I just don't have them all here in my beauty area. And I don't open up, I got to a certain point where I realized it didn't make sense for me to open up a lot of things at one time. So I think I have too many options right now at my vanity. So right now I'm not opening up any new concealers, any new foundations, or anything, especially anything liquid. I'm not going to open it up because when I open it, the clock starts. And then for items that have a shelf life of 6 months and you're only touching that product for you've only touched it 2 times and here we go, it's expired. So I'm not doing that. I'm not opening up anything else. I'm using what's here and trying to declutter those things that are gone. I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I am almost done with this Milani Conceal and Perfect in the shade Cool Sand. It is almost gone. As you can see, this bottle has a little bit in there, but I'm going to use this up until there's nothing else before I move to another one. I'm using this to clean up underneath my eyes or my eyebrows, and sometimes I'll use it all over my lid as my primer as well, and sometimes I'll use it maybe halfway and then go in with my eyeshadow primer from Revolution. It just depends, but I'm going to use that all up. Another product that I want to use all up are mascaras. I got to do a declutter because I have so many mascaras that I opened and didn't really use like that. And of course now they are dried out and they're going to have to be discarded. So I am not opening up certain products just yet. I'm waiting till I'm almost done with another product to open up a new product. I have a lot of concealers open. And I'm trying my best to work my way through them. I give away a lot of things because I don't want it to go to waste. I'm not a wasteful person, or I try not to be. So if I find something, I open it up and I'm like, this is a little bit too light for me, and it's a little bit too light for me to use as a primer. So the only option that I have is to throw it away or give it away. And I haven't had it long enough to throw it away, so I need to give it away. When it comes to setting sprays, I think I have 2 on my vanity. I thought I did. Oh, I do. Okay. So the first one that I have is the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray from Charlotte Tilbury. This is Party All Night, Stay All Night. It doesn't really claim to be hydrating or matte. It just claims to set your makeup and give you like a flawless airbrush finish, and I can say that it truly does that. This is a little bit on the pricey side for me, so I do have a mini bottle, but it is almost gone. But I do like it, so I may bite the bullet and buy the bigger size. I'm not sure. Again, I have a lot of setting powders that I opened up, and I need to use those before purchasing a new one. This is the Morphe Luminous Setting Spray. So it does have that luminous or glow to it, and that's what I have on today as well. And most of the time when I use this, I try not to use my fan. I just let it air dry. It has a better result on my skin, so that's the way that I use it. Doesn't mean that everybody has to use it that way. That's just my preference. Now they do have some of these in those aerosol bottles, and I think they have the option of either luminous or matte in those. I have about 3, but the issue that I had with those and why I can't give an honest opinion for those is because for some reason I buy them, I get them home. It may work about once or twice for me to spray it, and after that, the nozzle doesn't work anymore. And so I tried switching the nozzles out. I tried cleaning them with a safety pin to make sure there wasn't any product in there. It's just not working for me, and I think they're like $16, $18, and I have 3, so I'm not buying anymore. I don't want to waste any more money in that particular area, so I can't attest to those if they work or anything like that. I think I did like the finish of the one in the black bottle initially, but I can't really say if it lasts all day or anything like that. I don't remember. What I do know is the setting sprays by e.l.f. Those were good. Like, I've worn makeup like 10 hours, and the e.l.f. sustained all of that. What's the other one? e.l.f. ColourPop has one. Maybelline has one in a pink and black bottle. And I think that's Milani has one. It's in a clear bottle with a black top, and I think there's a yellow triangle or yellow something somewhere. That one's good. I can't remember anything else. So, to close out this video, we're going to talk about the area that I love the most, which is eyeshadows. I would say if you are starting off in makeup, you want to start with neutral tones. So tans, browns, then you can kind of graduate to maybe like a mauve. I like color now. I didn't like color, or I was afraid of color initially when I got into makeup. So I stayed away from all things color. I just put a brown on there and call it a day. But I like the way color looks, because the color, once I do my eyes, that's, for me, that sets the tone of what the rest of my makeup is going to look like. And most times it matches or gives me an idea of what I'm going to wear. So I may put on eyeshadow one day and like, oh, I remember, I got a leopard shirt that goes with that brown, or I got something that goes with that rust, or just different things like that. So it just kind of sets all my alarms off. I'm excited, like, oh, that looks so good. I got some shoes this color, I got a purse this color. Like, I'm just going all in. So this is where my creativity begins, and then everything else just follows suit, if that makes sense. So I would say if you are interested in makeup and you don't have any palettes right now, you don't have any eyeshadows, start off with like the 4-pan eyeshadows that e.l.f. makes. e.l.f. makes some. I think, what is the brand at Walmart? It's not Maybelline. CoverGirl makes some. I think ColourPop has some. Pretty much any brand, Milani, any brand that has those. That's easy because it gives you only 4 colors. Most of the times it gives it to you in the order that you can apply it. Sometimes they come with directions on the back to say this would be a good crease color, or this would be a good lid shade, or this color can be used to highlight your brow bone. Just different things like that to help you. And then once you kind of like, I don't need that anymore. I know what color I want to put on my eyes. Then you can kind of graduate to, now I want to add a little bit of pink. Now I want to add a little bit of purple. Now I want to add a little bit of yellow. Like just wherever your imagination takes you, I guess I'll say with that. Just try things. My problem area is definitely eyeshadow. I have eyeshadow palettes that I purchased last year that I have not tested out yet. So I don't know if I like them or not. That's not a practice that I encourage anybody to have. I realized that that's my hot zone. Like that's it for me. Most of my impulse buys are eyeshadow palettes because I see them. Ooh, that looks so pretty. And I show it in a haul. I may swatch it. I put it away and I forget all about it until I'm wearing something or somebody has a video they've done and I'm like, I have that palette. I didn't wear it yet. So I don't encourage that. I encourage you to get familiar with the products that you have. And then once you're familiar with those products, then move on to other things. That's just like purchasing anything. When you purchase a car, you got this car, you have your 3 months, you pretty much get to ride around in it. You don't really have to pay your car note just yet. You can test it out, feel if it rides well, if it's good on gas, if it has any, if it seems to have any technical or mechanical issues. Okay, this car is not right. I need to take this back. But if you're getting a car, I got this car, I had this car 30 days, and in 30 more days I want another car because it's red. It got the red seats I like. It has this kind of wheels. I want that car, and then I want another car. Like you can't honestly form an opinion about it because it's too many things in the mix. There is a such thing as too many options. That's too many options. I have too many options. So that's what I am faced with this year. If you are not new to my channel and you watch my videos on a regular basis, more so maybe like the last 3 or 4 months, you see that I am pulling from things that I already have in my collection. I'm not really buying anything. Now I do have a haul video that's coming up. I think the last one was in January and this is March as promised. So I will have another video this month. I'm still undecided if I'm going to do a haul for my birthday in the month of April, but I'll let you all know. So I'm not buying makeup at the rate of speed that I was, and I am extremely proud of myself for that. I am also getting to know the products that I have. I'm using more of the things that I already had versus me seeing something on TikTok and going to buy it because it was a hot topic that particular month, or it went viral that particular week. No, I may still get it, but I'll be late. I won't get it when everybody else get it. I need to work on what I already have. But that is all that I have for you all. I hope that this video was informative to a lot of you. If there's any questions that you have about the information that was given, you can leave it down below. If you have comments, if you're like, no, that's not true, that didn't work for me, leave it down below. I want to talk about it. Until next time, stay blessed and blush.